Hello everybody and welcome to Britball with the Breens episode 8. So as normal, we will go through this week's results and then we'll go through the fixtures for next week, looking through some of the potential matchups, and then we'll look at Division 2, what we think is the power rankings and who we think might go on to win the bowl games this year. So without further ado, we started off the week with the Leicester Falcons versus Tamworth Phoenix in the Prem North. Tamworth 28-7 winners away from home.
Yeah, I mean, it was important they got the win after what happened against Manchester last week. Still not exactly a convincing win, but, you know, they're away from home. There's clearly a bit of bitterness between these two teams, so they're going to be happy with getting back to winning ways straight away.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think they needed the win, just to steady the ship, if anything. But Leicester putting 7 points up is good for them as well. The Sheffield Giants 33, Edinburgh Wolves 8. Now Edinburgh look like they're in real trouble. I think their only real way of escaping relegation is by beating Leicester by more than 10 points at home and hoping other things go their way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big defeat for the Wolves on the road. We said last week that it was realistically going to be whether the Sheffield Giants could get their offence going, and they answered that question. They did. As you say, now Edinburgh have to solely either try and pick up a win somewhere, but they're going to be looking at that Leicester Falcons game as their real way out of avoiding relegation.
Yeah, there will be that. And again, just Sheffield seem to be picking up as the season goes on. The Manchester Titans 43, Merseyside Nighthawks 30. Where this Manchester sides came from in the last few weeks, I have no idea. I actually generally thought they were going to win the division at the start of the season, and then the first few games I thought, oh my word, what's happened? The only bad thing here is them conceding that many points, because I believe that if Merseyside win out and Manchester get beat by Tamworth, then Merseyside could potentially take the top crown now.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Titans winning, I believe Merseyside now own the head-to-head still.
Yeah. And
with one loss to their name, if they win out, that would be enough to top Manchester.
Yeah.
Obviously, they need to swing against Tamworth, but they have left the door open, conceding that many points, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and the other thing is that's a massive swing from the Titans, because they got beat by a decent amount by Merseyside in the first game. In the Prem South, London Blitz 7, London Warriors 54. So it looks like the Britball is going to be a nice easy one for the Warriors this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually really enjoyed the last couple of Britballs. I feel like this one isn't going to be enjoyable at all. You normally associate the Blitz with being that toughest contenders. Obviously Phoenix played them last year and Phoenix won Britball the year before. You'd still have to fancy Blitz to potentially be the best contenders against them, and if that's the best team they're going to face all year, then God help us come Britball.
Yeah, no, not going to be good. The London Olympians 68, the Farnham Knights 6. Now Olympians, that's a serious amount of points for them, most they've put up in a long time. One of them was a bit of a fluke. Field goal come back, popped up, rugby shoveled to the next player, and he runs in for the score. But 68-6 is a convincing victory.
Yeah, well, you'd expect Farnham would have been buoyed after the win against Kent, and you'd think maybe that they'd have an opportunity to challenge the Olympians, and by the looks of it, the Olympians put that to bed early and just did not let up a huge win for London.
Yeah, and speaking of Kent Exiles, our team of the week with the lowest percentage, 26% vote to win. They win 17-12 against the Bristol Aztecs, which is a huge win for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge win. Obviously, they have the head-to-head over Bristol. Now it's kind of looking to that point where, they don't need to worry about the point swing against Farnham. As long as they can win is going to be enough to keep them up in that game. But then again, you'd have thought they'd beat them comfortably last time and they got beat. So, that's become a really interesting race, again, between three teams in the drop. and it's a huge win for Kent.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how that's both relegation battles in the Prem North and Prem South look good. And in NFC 1 North, Yorkshire Rams 23, East Kilbride 34. Let's say it's our division, we don't speak about it too much, but either Yorkshire Rams offense has continued to get better or East Kilbride's defense isn't showing its early season form like it was.
Yeah, I mean, with us playing East Kilbride this weekend, I obviously don't want to say too much, don't want to paint a big target on my back. I did read they said they had a depleted defensive line, which would explain a lot as well. But they keep racking up wins, they keep racking up points, and they're a very dangerous team heading towards the playoffs.
Yeah, they are.
Which, by the way, I failed to point out last week, that win actually secures them a playoff spot.
Okay, so they've already secured their playoff spot, so hopefully they go easy on us this weekend. Can't see it. Aberdeen Roughnecks 56, Gateshead Senators 0. We're up a burger at half time, which is ridiculous, but Gateshead obviously relegated from Division 1. The NFC 1 South, Nottingham Caesars versus Sandwell. Well, you know how that goes. Sandwell blowing them out 48-0 away from home.
Yeah, if in doubt, pick Sandwell. It's kind of been the motto all year, and it's going to continue to be that way. It's a massive win again, but it's not a surprise to us anymore seeing victories of this margin.
I think we're going to have to make that a hashtag. If they're there, pick Sandwell. Doncaster Mustangs postponed Lancashire Wolverines, but it wasn't postponed. It's been forfeited. Doncaster obviously in deep trouble. They were going to be relegated anyway, so they've obviously just decided they didn't want to play that one. But weird because it was at home.
I mean, we've seen the situation with the refs. There's going to be debate about it. Some people are on Doncaster's side, some people are not. I have sympathy for them. I mean, you'd hope at this point, Division 1, there'd be referees for the games, but this isn't the referee's fault either. You know, they've only got so many bodies and they can only do so much, and without them we can't play the games at all. But, you know, you'd have liked to see the game rearranged. However, you do feel that Doncaster were heading towards that trapdoor anyway. So it's kind of, they were just postponing the inevitable at this point.
Yeah. The other thing about that was that there was rumours about their head coach leaving halfway through the season or whatever. So that'll be an interesting one to find out exactly what's happened there. Shropshire Revolution 20, Chester Romans 6. As normal in this fixture over the last few years, Shropshire Revolution at home are just too much for Chester. A good defence against them.
Yeah, I mean, you worried for Chester at the start of the season. They were taking a couple of hidings along the way, not putting up many points, and okay, they maybe only put up 6, but this is still a close game, and they've improved as the seasons went on, and I expect to see them carry that into next year, now knowing that they're safe.
Yeah. We're safe as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The SFC 1 Central, Sussex Thunder 13, Solent Thrashers 32. Not as close as we thought it would be. I thought it would be a bit closer, especially with Sussex being at home. But Solent seemed to have found their feet over the last couple of weeks. And that's a good win.
Yeah, it's a strong win. Obviously, getting that push from Hertfordshire earlier on in the season, and you know we're now at that point where we're heading into that game that's going to, you know, it's going to effectively decide who wins that division.
Yeah. So the other game in that division, Hertfordshire, I'm going to get that wrong again. 46-9 against Oxford Saints. Nothing untoward there. That was kind of expected. Another decent win for them. In the SFC 1 East, however, Wembley Stallions were extremely close to knocking off the Cambridgeshire Cats.
Yeah.
And I'd have been raging if the first week I picked them, they lose.
Yeah, I mean, once again, the Cats grind out a close victory. And although I think I upset one of their players last week, they are now mathematically confirmed as going to the playoffs. I know it was inevitable, but mathematically they're now confirmed going into a huge game this weekend.
Yeah, a massive game for them. Speaking of them, London Hornets 37, Ouse Valley Eagles 0. So Ouse Valley still struggling. London put up points, but again, we can't really judge this game. We need to judge next week how London compare against Cambridgeshire. Yeah. And then the last game in that division, Bury Saints destroyed Colchester 58-0. So, but again, Colchester already know they're safe. So,
Yeah, I mean, not to sound like a broken record, but again, the guys from Moose Valley have to be looking at it going, we could have probably stayed up with their games to play against Colchester. So, they might be disappointed come the end of the season that they might end with 2 wins and get relegated anyway because they forfeited.
Yeah, going to be interesting, that one. And then FC2 North, a massive win for Dumfries Hunters, 60-14 versus Darlington Steam. Now, we've had a look around, but we can't really see where the difference has come for Dumfries. They've struggled to put up some points recently, but 60 points in a game is decent going.
Yeah, I mean, we worried about their offense. We keep a close eye with it being our division last year, and it's still our local division. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they did differently, but they need to keep doing it because 60 points is a huge total against the Steam. And now we're not even at the end of June, and that's the Steam season over already.
Yeah.
They did technically get 2 wins under their belt via Carlisle forfeits, but you have to kind of feel for the team, and they didn't really get to experience that win in their first season, which many don't. They've competed in almost every game they've played in, but you do feel a bit disappointed they didn't get to experience that on-field win due to Carlisle forfeiting in 2 games that they would have definitely won.
Yeah, and in fairness to Darlington, they have actually put up some points this season. So, hey guys, if you are going for some extra games in the off season, you can always give us a shout. We might be there as well. The SFC2 Southwest, Bristol Apache 45, Worcestershire 2. Don't know what to say about this one, really.
I mean, the sauce got splattered. Bristol seem to be getting stronger and stronger. Worcester are having a horrific season. Again, from playoff contender last year to no wins this season. It's not looking good for them at all.
No, and it's not looking good for Torbay either. Torbay Trojans 14, South Wales Warriors 49. Now, this has been the game of the week, and everyone thought it was going to be that's not a game. Like, South Wales over the last few years have dominated Torbay. So I'm not sure why everyone expected it to be different this year.
Yeah, I mean, but they both played really physical defence this year, and even in our score predictor, I put 7-3. I said on the podcast last week that I think this would be under 20 points, and as I've quickly pointed out, if I say that, go for a big win for somebody because I always get that bit wrong.
Almost a burger.
Yeah, almost a burger. They had the buns, they had the cheese, they just didn't quite finish it off. Yeah, it's a big loss for Torbay, and you have to wonder how they'll bounce back from that.
Yeah, but yeah, they've got battle Bristol for that second seed now. So the SFC2 South, London Blitz B 32-0 against Swindon. We can't lead too much into that. London putting up some points.
Another good win for the Blitz
Another
B.
decent win, yeah. The SFC2 South East, the Essex Spartans continue their undefeated 27-8 against East Kent Mavericks.
Yeah, I said last week we didn't know what to expect from this one because Essex Spartans had played the 2 worst teams twice. That's a better win. It's a good win to have under their belt, and they'll look to keep moving on and keep undefeated.
Yeah, and in the other game in that division, Ipswich Cardinals 29, Maidstone Pumas zip. After it's giving you praise. Maidstone.
Yeah, obviously disappointing for Maidstone. They've been competing in all their games. They've been scoring points, and to get shutouts, it's disappointing. I did pick Ipswich to win. However, I did say last week I'd go for a tie. So, come on, Maidstone, you let me down on this one. I really was
embarrassment.
Yeah, I was really supporting you this week, and you let me down.
Okay, so that's the results for the week. Some decent results there. Most went as planned. The community only got one wrong, I think. So, pretty decent going. It's starting to shape up nicely. So on to this week's fixtures. Prem North, Edinburgh Wolves versus Manchester Titans at home. It's going to be a tough day, I think, for Edinburgh.
Yeah, I mean, they're at home. I don't think that makes any difference in this game. Manchester are absolutely flying at the moment, and I think this could be a case of how much.
Yeah, and the weird thing is it wasn't a huge difference in Manchester.
No.
So you just never know, but I can't see it this week. In the Prem South, Kent Exiles versus London Olympians. Now, in this game, Kent were up by a decent amount of points, and the London Olympians blew them away in the second half. Kent are coming off a big win. Olympians are coming off a huge blowout. I can't look past the Olympians at this moment, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Olympians have shown this year they're strong. They're just shy of that, blitz level. But Yeah, I think they're going to prove too much for Kent this week. I think Kent will also be looking towards that fixture with Farnham.
Yeah, I think so. Bristol Aztecs versus London Blitz. Blitz coming off a huge loss. Bristol Aztecs coming off a bad loss. That puts them square back in that relegation battle. I can't look past the Blitz here though. I think they'll be extremely angry and probably take out on Bristol, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the Blitz have tend to, win big sometimes against teams that aren't the London Warriors. I think they'll win again this week.
Yeah. In the NFC 1 North, again, we'll not say too much about this one. East Kilbride versus ourselves. Going to be an interesting game. Tough game, we know that's coming. So be good to see them again since the first week of the season. The other game in that division, Glasgow Tigers versus Northumberland Vikings at Glasgow. Can't really see this going any other way than Northumberland. They've had a decent season so far. They've recruited quite a few players. I know it's from Carlisle, but they've recruited quite a few players from there, so it bolsters their squad. So I can't see that one going any other way.
No, I mean, the Tigers are having a good year, but Northumberland are having a good year as well. Obviously, they're only lost that narrow 8-5 defeat to East Kilbride. I see this one going the Vikings' way.
Yeah. The NFC 1 South, Shropshire Revolution versus Doncaster Mustangs. We don't even know if that's going ahead. But we would guess it probably is. Shropshire, I think, are going to probably walk this one a fair distance. The other game in that division, Chester Romans versus Sandwell Steelers. Again, as we said earlier, if Sandwell are playing, vote for them. Chester Romans are at home. I expect them to put up a fight for a little bit, but I expect Sandwell to run away with this.
Yeah, I just think at the moment Sandwell are too good.
Yeah. Now, when it starts to get interesting here is the SFC 1 Central. Portsmouth's Dreadnoughts versus Solent Thrashers. Now, Portsmouth have had some good wins this season. They've played really well. They have to win this game to still be in contention for playoffs, do they? I think they do.
I believe so. I know that if Solent win this game, that locks in a playoff spot for them.
Yeah.
In fact, both playoff spots can be locked up this weekend in that division, as well as not mathematically, but likely the relegation from that division. So
yeah,
Portsmouth do need to win, I believe, but Solent are the team you're looking at, and their winning would put them in the playoffs.
Yeah. I can't see past them either, so we'll say Solent for that one. The Oxford Saints versus Berkshire Renegades. Again, this could be an interesting one. I picked the Renegades last time and regret it, but it was close.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game, isn't it? This will decide the fate of these two teams. Oxford obviously have the head-to-head. It doesn't mathematically relegate Berkshire if they lose. However, it would mean the team above them, the Saints, have 2 wins in the head-to-head over them, and you'd have to fear for Berkshire at that point. You wouldn't really see them picking up a win, let alone 2 wins. So this game is huge.
Yeah, and it's not much to turn it around either, so they've got that chance. The last game's a cracker. Hertfordshire Cheetahs versus Sussex Thunder. Sussex haven't really been firing on all cylinders the last couple of weeks. Hertfordshire coming off a big win. I can't see past Hertfordshire this week.
No, and to add to that, it's sort of Hertfordshire's Armed Forces weekend this weekend. They've got the new black camo kits as well.
Sussex won't see them coming.
Well, that's true. They might not see them. Hertfordshire putting together a really strong season. I think they'll win this one, but it'll be close.
Yeah. The SFC 1 East, Ouse Valley Eagles versus Bury Saints. Ouse Valley, we know they're already relegated, as we said earlier, but Bury looking really strong. They have some big games coming up over the next couple of weeks, so I expect them to try and get this one out the way early and then maybe rest some players. The second game in that division, Cambridgeshire Cats versus London Hornets, is a huge game.
Yeah.
Huge game.
And this is our first crown on offer, I believe. After mathematically confirming playoffs, this mathematically confirms the division for the Cats if they get the win this week. I've stuck by them all year. I firmly believe that this is going to be a really tight game again. The Cats have so much experience this year in those tight games, And if it comes down to that last minute needing points, I fancy the Cats to do it again and get that division crown.
Yeah, and Cats, don't let me down, because I actually voted for you this week. So London I've sided with a few times, but hopefully the Cats have too much for them this week. No games in NFC 2 North this week. NFC 2 Central, Nottingham Raiders versus Halton Spartans. We know how this went. Nottingham come off a win, they look good. Everyone bigs them up, they get thumped 74-0 or something by Halton. So, can you see anything different this time?
I mean, a 70-point swing? No. Whether it's as big a margin this time round, who knows? Halton might, rest a few guys, take their foot off the gas, maybe. But I fully expect them to go full throttle and want to get this win. I don't see anything to change that. Halton will win. And with that, if Halton do win, then mathematically they've clinched the playoffs as well, I believe.
Okay, that's another good one for them. Can't get the crown until they face Leeds later in the season. Morecambe Bay Storm versus Furness Phantoms. This will be a close one, I think. I've picked Furness this week purely because I think they have had some better results in the past. Just not even just this year, but last year. They could have just a bit more experience when it comes to close game. Yeah,
I mean, realistically, this is Furness's hope to keep any realistic chance of that third spot in their division alive. Morecambe, season's kind of over for them. I think Furness will win.
Yeah. In NFC 2 South, one of the biggest games of the weekend, Lincolnshire Bombers versus Birmingham Bulls. Now, personally, I can't see past the Bulls in this game. We've said all season that we think the Bulls are the team to go all the way this year. Haven't played them last year. There were just a few pieces missing, which they seem to have got. But Bombers, you never know. They have got better this season. They beat Staffordshire Surge twice this season. They're at home. So you just never know what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it was tight. The first time these teams met, it was tight. So, you kind of bank on that again, especially with Lincolnshire now being the home team. Bulls have that added motivation that this is the other first crown on offer this in this division. A win obviously seals that for Birmingham and guarantees them one of the top 3 seeds.
Yeah,
I think that motivation will be enough to see the Bulls over the line.
Yeah, I would agree. The Humber Warhawks versus Staffordshire Surge. At the start of the season, I'd have said, Staffordshire, no bother, but Humber have given some people some games, including Staffordshire, and Staffordshire have had some bad losses. So it could end up close with Humber at home. I've still picked the Surge, but it could easily be a one-score game.
Yeah, I mean, Staffordshire have that added motivation of they are still looking for that third seed. In third place in that division, and currently they would hold enough to make the playoffs if they keep up their current form. And again, I think that'll be enough motivation to make sure they win this game.
Yeah. In SFC 2 West, the Worcestershire Black Knights versus the Somerset Wyverns. Somerset have been decent this season. They've been a lot better. They've picked up some good wins. Worcestershire really struggling to do anything at this point. Can't see anything but a Somerset win.
Yeah, I can't see it. I mean, before the start of the season, you'd have probably pegged that as a decent clash, a good head-to-head game. Not now. I think it'll still, it's not going to get out of hand. It's not going to be a huge win for Somerset, I don't believe, but I think they'll win comfortably.
Yeah. In the SFC 2 South, London Blitz B versus Jurassic Coast Raptors. Now, all joking aside and gridiron memes, this won't even be close. London Blitz B should blow them away.
Yeah, I mean, we all appreciate the effort of a good
we like a good
meme, but I wouldn't back the Jurassic Coast Raptors to win this. Especially again, given the added motivation that this is another team in the London Blitz B that can lock up a crown. I'm sure they'll be keen to do that as early as possible, and I'm sure they'd like to do it with a burger as well.
Yeah. The other game in that division, Hastings Conquerors versus Swindon Storm. Gads. Obviously Swindon put them to the sword last time. But you never know. Hastings might score some points this time. Could be a 10-66. If you don't get that reference,
Yeah,
there's something
sounds
wrong
like a
with
bit of a battle. But yeah, Swindon, I can't see anything to change the score. They're still chasing the third place in their division and a chance at that 7th and 8th seed. I think Swindon win comfortably.
Yeah, and in the last division, SFC2 East, Ipswich Cardinals versus East Essex Sabres. This was a huge draw last time, was it not? 31-all?
Yeah.
Was that this game?
No, that was Norwich.
Was that Norwich? I can't remember actually. I've forgotten when I've written it down. But Ipswich Cardinals versus Essex Sabres. I think that Ipswich will take this one, but I think maybe by just 10 points, 2 scores possibly.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be quite physical defensively, both of these teams. I don't see anything to change that, but I do think Ipswich win.
Yeah, and the last game, the Norwich Devils versus Essex Spartans, that'll be an interesting one. Norwich have not looked like what they looked last year. Haven't put up points like they did last year, certainly for that. And Essex are undefeated. They're coming off some decent wins. But this will probably be their toughest challenge so far.
Yeah, I mean, but it gives Essex that chance to separate themselves from the rest of the division. A chance to get up to sort of 2 wins clear, I believe. And I think they'll fancy their chances to do that.
Yeah, and I guess it's going to tell us a lot about what we're about to discuss in these power rankings. So what we've got this week is we have put together our Division 2 top 4 North and South, and who we think could eventually win the bowl championship come the end of the season. So in the Division 2 North, okay, I think depending on this Bombers result this weekend, the Bombers could easily jump up into CVB's place. However, at the moment, by results that are going the way they are, I can't see away from the Bulls being number 1 the whole way. Halton, although have been impressive, they've not had a challenge all season. So, are they going to be able to step up when they get one? Interesting question. So, I think this would be our top 4 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that 4th place is more the hardest one to tell. I know in other sort of people's outlook on power rankings that Clyde Valley don't tend to get that respect, but that they're a lot stronger this year than they were last year as well. They run us close in all 3 games last year, so I don't think we can ever really write them off.
A lot of experience
in their ranks as well, from coaches to players as well. The Bulls would be my strongest team.
Yeah.
Halton are obviously in there as well. I tend to agree with that 4. But the Bulls look like the team to beat.
Yeah, don't concede hardly anything.
No.
So in the South, however, a bit more interesting. So in the South, Blitzby probably our top one, along with South Wales. Bobcats have run Blitzby close twice. The 4th one was almost impossible to choose, but with Torbay taking a hiding last week, and I think the chances are that Bristol could potentially overtake Torbay next time they play. But we are kind of split on these ones because I think that the Blitz are going to win, take it all the way, and you think that South Wales potentially take it all the way.
I think it could be either of those teams. Obviously, when you're looking at Bobcats being 3rd, you'd have to assume the Blitz are good enough to beat anyone really.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come down to those 2 teams. I fully expect them to meet each other in the South final.
Yeah. And
to date, I've seen nothing to change that.
No, unless Bournemouth knock off the Blitz at some point, I can't see anyone.
We've lost twice to them.
Yeah, but it's been close, so I don't know. Yeah. They might figure them out or whatever, but I can't see anything apart from a Blitz Warriors final as well. So that's our take on Division 2. We'll do Division 1, the Prem, in the following weeks coming. The Prem, pretty much pointless, because we think everyone knows who's going to win that.
London Warriors.
Yeah. Everybody else.
Everyone else.
With me. So it's it's one of these things we'll look at over the next couple of weeks. But this has been Britball with the Breens, episode 8. Okay, we hope you're enjoying them. Don't know if anyone got back to us on our pronunciation, but it is Echo Feckin. So you can have a play about that. If we've seen any online, I'll get a hold of them and see what we're doing. But until next time, thank you very much.